first time that everyone has said that Florida is a must-win state for the GOP in 2012. But why? Let's talk about it with Alex Castellanos. He's a Republican consultant and a CNN contributor. And then Dana Lash. She is a talk radio host and also a CNN contributor. So, Alex, why is Florida so important to Republicans?
You know, where it comes in the process is critically important. Right now, Iowa may pick the most conservative winner of that playoff game. New Hampshire may pick an establishment Republican. They may come down South Carolina and Florida really to settle who comes out of the Republican nomination process.
It's a bellwether state.
Yeah,
really.
Say it.
It's a bellwether state.
Meaning?
Well, usually the way Florida goes, so goes the nomination process.
Yeah.
You can't be the presidential nominee for GOP if you don't take Florida.
And that's one reason Florida is they're considering moving up the primary here, and that's caused some consternation with the party, with the political system, and also with the folks in the state. They may get punished, and they may lose some delegates because of it. They said, we are strong and we are mighty, and we should go before other states. A lot of other states.
Every state wants to be first. You know, there are only 49 other states who think that they ought to have a special place in the process, and they're more representatives. But the problem is, right now, Florida, I think, would actually be giving up an opportunity to be at the finish line instead of the starting line of the process.
Yeah. But if they're penalized for doing that, I mean, doesn't that maybe Florida won't be the state that you have to win because they're going to lose some delegates?
They'd still have a lot of delegates.
They're playing with fire, don't you think?
And you know, they are playing with fire, but usually what happens is that nobody wants to insult the state as the process goes on, and usually some accommodation is worked out.
What do you think?
I think it would be kind of a gamble. I hope that they don't push it up. I really don't. Well, I think that Florida ends up having just kind of the ultimate say in who's going to be selected on the Republican side, and at this point, I really trust Florida's instinct. I don't want them to push it up. I want them to keep it as it is.
All right, let's get to the reason why we're here, and that is Monday night, tomorrow night, the debate. And I don't know if you heard what Mark Preston said. He spoke with some folks with the Bachmann campaign. She's going to hit Perry hard tomorrow. Do you think her message is right? Her messaging is right on?
I believe so. She does need to hit Perry hard because his entire strategy up until this point has been to completely ignore her. He wants to focus as much attention on Romney as possible so he can be the non-Romney. Because until Perry got involved, it was Romney and everyone who wasn't Mitt Romney. Yeah. And so Perry's been taking a lot of the thunder away from that. So by ignoring her, he's sort of pushing her out to the periphery.
Is this a fait accompli? For her,
oh, that she done?
She says, oh, yeah, I'm going to go and hit him hard, but does it really matter?
I think it does, because right now this could be a very good day for Mitt Romney. If Michelle Bachmann takes on Perry and they get into a tug of war on splitting the conservative vote, then that center-right vote all goes to Mitt Romney. But she doesn't have much choice. Yeah. She's got to not only deal with Perry, but she also has to demonstrate that she's electable in a general election. What's really holding her back is not that Republicans disagree with her. They think the same thing she does. They just don't think she can win in the fall.
The chairwoman of the Tea Party Express sat with me right where you guys are sitting just a couple minutes ago and said the Tea Party is going to pick the next Republican presidential nominee and thus the next president. What do you think? Possibly.
I think that the Tea Party has been instrumental in not just pushing the Republican Party a little more to the right, but also to the Democrats. They've been pushing Democrats. Blanche Lincoln ran as a moderate, for crying out loud, the last election. I mean, I think that the full influence of the grassroots movement. But it is a huge battle, first and foremost, with the establishment within the GOP, and they're out in full force. I've had so much oppo hit my inbox about Bachmann, about Perry, about this person, that person. So it's going to be a tug of war, first with the establishment, then with independents and the swing voters.
This election, I think, is going to be even way more interesting than the 2008 election. Do you disagree with that? I think in large part because of the Tea Party's influence.
Because of the Tea Party's influence, but you know, this is a big election in a lot of ways. The country's on the edge of an economic precipice. We don't know where we're going, how we're going to dig ourselves out of a hole. There's a fear that America's in decline, that we're going to leave our children something less than we've been left, and that's something that's never happened in this country before. That's why I think that the fight we're having politically are so tough, because there are very different ways of how we're going to dig ourselves out.
Leave our children less than before. Is that real, or is that rhetoric? Because we've gone through bad times before.
Yeah,
We've had high unemployment.
And we've never lost our confidence, Don, and that's really important. But when you ask Americans on a survey now, do you think your children are going to have it better than you did? For the first time, more Americans think, no, our children are not, than do. That doesn't happen in this country. This has always been the land of endless promise and limitless frontiers. You know, we believe we can do anything as Americans, and that's in doubt. We've lost some confidence, and I think, frankly, it begins at the White House at the top, because our president is telling us only he can get us out and only Washington can get us out. He's not doing what Reagan did, which is tell us the American people can get us out.
I've got to run. I think, listen, on a political level, this has nothing to do with ideology, but I think as Americans, I mean, today, if we don't know that we can get through anything, we can survive anything and come out stronger on the other side.
We may have different means to achieving ends, but we have the same ends.
Yeah, it's dollars. Lives are important. I mean, you know, we want to leave our kids something, but lives are